Welcome to Room 2B.
Where there's always room to be an informed citizen.
Today's lesson, 9/11.
And the questions about 9/11, the questions that we answered on 9/11, 2001, the questions we answered and tried to address in the months afterwards, and now 10 years later, still questions about what are the most significant events that occurred in American government in the last 10 years since the terrorist attacks of 9/11.
Andy, we all have different memories. We all have a different response to the event of September 11th, 2001. But we feel here in Room 2B it's cathartic to talk about it again. And we should, because 9/11, 2001 was not just another event. It was a significant event, a watershed event, a game-changing event. It's worth talking about.
Well, certainly we, like all Americans, including our president at the time, George W. Bush, thought when the first plane went into the tower, we had no idea that America was under attack. We assumed it was simply an accident. But when that second plane went into the second tower, we knew life was going to be different. And boy, what a difference a massive terrorist attack makes, where essentially America has been at war. War against global war on terror, war in Afghanistan, war in Iraq, and now Libya for the last 10 years.
Andy, the images are still surreal as we see them over and over this past weekend as we commemorate the event. The images were surreal, but what was even more surreal is how small the world became on September 11th, 2001. Seemingly, we all knew someone who was in New York City. Seemingly, we all knew someone who was flying that morning. Seemingly, we all had a neighbor that was a pilot. Andy, as much as the world has gone global, September 11th, 2001 reminded us how small the world is and how important it is to us.
Well, it was also a time where we realized that as the world's only superpower, that we took it upon ourselves to have a responsibility around the world, where we got much more involved in places like Pakistan, even in the subcontinent, even in the Philippines, where we saw a presence of terrorism, Al-Qaeda around the planet, and the administration tried to tackle that, often, sometimes through diplomacy, and oftentimes through military policy in places like Afghanistan and
We've been
Iraq.
debating for 10 years, Andy, the role of the government, and seemingly that's a debate we've had for over 200 years. But it's become more real to us in the last 10 years. How large should our government be? When their essential duty is to keep us safe and secure, how much of our own liberty are we willing perhaps to give up to be secure? And these are the types of discussions we should be having, and we encourage you to have.
And we encourage you to respond to our questions about what is the most significant event that's happened in American government in the last 10 years.
Andy, we're in Room 2B, and we're trying to become a better citizen. This weekend, we're all reflecting back on that important day, September 11th, 2001. One thing is for sure, we may have been certain 11 years ago about where we were going. The tragedy of 2001, September 11th, we're now uncertain about tomorrow. If you want to be a good citizen, come into Room 2B. No fancy suits,
No fancy words,
plain talk about issues you need to know.
just in time.